Bigfoot, also known as Sasquatch, is a bipedal, ape-like creature that allegedly inhabits the deep forests of North America, based on disputed sightings, video and audio recording, and photographs. Bigfoot has become a pop culture icon, described as having a human-like face, flat nose, dark eyes that glow yellow or red at night, and is a towering 7 to 9 feet tall. Although there have been thousands of sightings, there has yet to be one captured alive or in skeletal form. Indigenous elders regard Sasquatch as sacred and the guardians of the forest. But do they exist, or is it all an elaborate hoax? Let's delve into it further. Hey Ocean Crew, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Karen and I'm from Ocean Chicks Films. Tonight we're going to be doing an episode of Movie Reviews and Munchies, where I review my favorite movies and snack on vegan snacks on this channel. But it's going to be a little bit different. We're going to do a TV show review and munchies instead. So let's get our snacks and get started. So first of all, for my snack, I have this granola bar. It's made good. It's made in Canada, gluten-free. It's vegan. It doesn't have any palm oil in it, which is cool because that's rare because lots of stuff has palm oil in it. You should always read your labels because that's bad for the animals, environment. It's got lots of like veggie extracts in it too. So it's like a chocolate chip, Rice crisp kind of granola bar, but it's got like extracts of like broccoli and carrot and beet and stuff like that too, which is cool because you can't really taste it in there. But I like that. So anyways, that's my snack. Let's open it up and try it. See, there it is. Yummy. I love these. These are super good. It's got agave in it, brown rice syrup. That's good, you know, good little snack. A little bit healthier. Good to give these to your kids for in their lunches because you're getting a little bit of veggies in there too. I thought granola bar was fitting for the kind of survivalist TV show that I'm looking at tonight. We're going to look at the TV series Survivorman, starring Les Stroud, who is Canadian, like me, from Ontario, like me originally. I live out in BC now though. And he is an outdoorsman and a survivalist, and he teaches it and he lives it, and he's like really good at it. Not like me. I wish I could be like that, but no, that's not me. So the series Survivorman started in 2005, I believe. I started watching it way back then when I was still living at my parents' house in Ontario, and Thunder Bay, actually, and I loved that show. What it is Les would go get dropped off in the middle of nowhere in nature, in all different parts of the world, and he was supposed to survive for a week with very, very little supplies and rations and kind of live off of the land and teach us different tips and tricks and things that we could do if we were ever in those kinds of situations. Very fun, very cool show. It made me fall in love with nature and the outdoors and camping and hiking and all of that kind of thing. It's probably part of the reason why I ended up in BC, because it's really beautiful for that out here too. The show aired on television on OLN in Canada, and then internationally it was on Discovery Channel and Science Channel. So probably a lot of you have seen it before or heard of it before. Really great show, and I advise that you watch it if you haven't yet. There's lots of different groupings of series that he did within the show, which is what I'm going to talk about tonight, is his year-long adventure looking for Bigfoot. Before we get started on that though, I wanted to mention also that he's a very accomplished musician. He does, folksy, jazz, blues kind of music, and he's often playing his harmonica when he goes on these locations too, so that's kind of cool. Another thing that really inspired me that I watched of his way back when he first started was he did like a docu-series kind of thing made for TV about this off-grid house that he built And that was way back in the day when, you know, it was still a very new concept. So he introduced a lot of these kinds of features and things that you could add to your house to make it more eco-friendly and sustainable. And I so inspired by that. And I still to this day, one day, I don't know when, but later on down the road, I really want to live that way, especially out here, out, you know, in nature, way up north, even up island, get a piece of land and do that kind of thing. I'm really inspired by that. What I'm going to be talking about tonight is the TV series segments that he did for a year. I believe it was like 2015, 2016. I didn't watch it at that time. I was probably busy raising my daughter, but it's such a good series. I finally found it just recently and I started watching it. I binged watched half of it, you know, and it was a lot to take in, but he goes around researching and exploring Bigfoot or Sasquatch sightings in North America. So it's really cool. I watched 4 episodes so far. So this is going to be a 2-part video. I'll do the first part this weekend and next week I'll do the second part. I believe there are 9 episodes. I watched 5, which is about the Hoopa territory in Northern California. I watched number 6, which was called Radium Mountain Returns, which is in BC. I think that's the number of the episodes, unless I'm getting it wrong and there were more, but from what I could see on YouTube, that's what I could see. I also watched episode 7, which was Smoky Mountain, Tennessee. I just watched episode, I'm not sure what number it was, about a remote town in BC called Klemtu. That was a really good one too. So in all of the episodes, he is going in sort of as a skeptic, but kind of open to the possibility that there could be something like that out there. He wants to learn. He uses his survival skills to kind of test the evidence to see what he comes up with and what he believes, while also listening to, you know, the people from the area that tell him stories and sightings and show him their documentation about what they found and what they believe. It's really good. And as always with all of his shows, the scenery and the shots are absolutely breathtaking. They're phenomenal, and I love the angles he takes and the way he brings you into these remote areas and kind of shows you what the nature looks like. You get to kind of experience it through his eyes. That's very cool. I love watching shows like that. I don't know about you, but that's one of my favorite things to watch is nature, but to actually see it, not see, you know, a brochure from a town that's trying to get you to go there, but you know, actually seeing it firsthand, right out there, what it looks like, and filmed beautifully as well. But he takes you in, you know, you can almost feel the nature, you can smell the smells, you can listen and hear the sounds, like as he's taking you through, as though you're really there. Episode 5 is Survivorman Bigfoot, Willow Creek. Starts out in the Hoopa territory in Northwest California. He takes us to the exact spot where the infamous Patterson-Gimlin video footage of Bigfoot from 1967 was first taken. And it's pretty cool. He goes over a lot of the details and information, you know, the criticisms and more information that I've heard of before. It's neat to see actually where it was. He kind of centers around that the native reserve that's out there. It's very interesting, and it's really charming too. He takes us through some of the little, you know, small town shops and museums and restaurants and things that are there. I really enjoyed seeing all of that. One day, hopefully, I'll be able to go visit there myself. In this area, as well as pretty well all the areas he's shown that I've watched so far, they're black bear country. There are wolves. There's lots of animals, you know, so his thinking is to look at, say, a footprint, and instead of automatically thinking that it's a Bigfoot, he kind of shows us how it could be a bear print. He shows us some of the large branch breaks and some of these formations that are supposedly created by Bigfoot because of the way that they're built. But he shows us how, you have to sort of look at the difference between, snowfall breaking branches over, the difference between that and something that it seems too large and too irregular to fit that match. So I learned a lot there. I think that was really interesting too. But there were lots of sightings and stories that came out of there. So he kind of gets into all of that. Really good episode. Then I watched episode 6 because I was just on this roll and I couldn't stop watching. I watched episode 6 and it's the Radium Mountain Returns. And this is a mountain in British Columbia. And he decides this episode that he's going to bring lots more gear. So he sets up a lot of different cameras. He brings in some tricks of the trade like bait. Oftentimes people that search for Bigfoot will put out apples or offerings or gifts or things that, the Bigfoot might be attracted to and could take, and then they can try to capture on film. So it's pretty interesting, all the different things that he sets up, and you learn a lot more about Bigfoot and what all of these people that follow and search for Bigfoot are kind of using and what they're doing. Episode 7 is Smoky Mountains in Tennessee, and he hooks up with this fellow, Scott Carpenter. Now, Scott has these audio tapes that you can hear Bigfoot talking, and he's apparently brought them to experts who have broken them down into syllables, so it sounds as though the noises are several animals communicating back and forth. So we got to hear that. That was interesting. And Les and Scott stay out there, and Les is actually able to hear a whoop, which is like the sound that that many people have claimed to have heard in the woods that they can't explain away as being another animal. While he's there, he's told about the idea that perhaps there are biblical connotations to the Bigfoot idea, concept, or maybe aliens even. So kind of an interesting thing to be thinking about while you're hiking through the woods in the dark, that's for sure. But there are people that have that kind of belief as well, that it's a spiritual being, and that it's not just an animal or simply a biped ape, something descendant of apes or something ancient. Another thing we learned about in that episode is the idea of arranging, like I said, the gifts. So they'll put stones and lay them out strategically on a log. And this guy claims that he'll come back to the location and the stone, or sleep in the tent and wake up in the morning, and the stones will be arranged in a certain particular order, like 3 stones on one side and 1 stone on the other side. And his thinking was that perhaps that meant the Bigfoot is communicating to him that there's 3 of us and there's 1 of you, kind of. There's always this reference to them setting boundaries. So these structures of broken over trees that are put together are sort of ways of marking their territory where they want you to stay out. So it's kind of an interesting thought. And the last episode I watched for now was the Klemtu, BC. Oh my God, the scenery is absolutely breathtaking. It's gorgeous. I would love to go there. I've never gone before. Absolutely phenomenal. Must have been a really nice stay over, even though he was probably freaked out a little bit about the possibility of running into a Bigfoot, but very beautiful. He was able to go on the water and camp near the water, and lots of bears and stuff up that way too. That would kind of freak me out a little bit. I know even hiking up island here, I get a little bit spooked by there's bears or if there's cougars. But, there's ways of dealing with that. It's nature. We have to love the animals, right? But yeah, it was just a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful episode. Really loved to watch it. And he was able to explore a bit further with the Bigfoot, with the First Nations group that's out there as well. They kind of told him all of their stories, and they have a much more spiritual way of looking at these animals, and they firmly believe that they do exist, and they have lots of sightings of them, and they think that it's entirely possible that these creatures live completely separate from us, and they're able to hide, and you know, that's just, it could happen. You know, there's lots of species that are still yet to be discovered. I think there's a possibility that they could exist. So anyhow, I'm halfway through these shows. They were fantastic to watch. For my review, I'm gonna give Survivorman Bigfoot 5 shark bites, because I think that it's that good. You gotta watch, especially if you love nature shows, and Bigfoot if you love that kind of idea too. All right, so next week I'll be back with part 2. I'll watch the rest of the shows and then give you a little bit of a recap then. Check them out if you can though. It's on YouTube on the Les Stroud or Survivorman YouTube page. Go look for it. And if you liked this video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up, because that helps me out a lot. And thanks you guys so much for stopping by. I'll be back on Friday with another savory recipe that's going to be delicious. So I'm gonna finish my granola bar and go watch some more shows, and I will see you again on Friday. Bye guys.